I've been doing App of the Month for a little over a year now. In this video, I'm going to cover some of my favorite apps from the year and crown my best productivity, utility, entertainment, health, and camera apps with some honorable mentions for each. Let's start with the apps that I managed to cover this year in 2025 with dedicated videos. January was 1Password. February was Fantastical. March featured Raycast. April was Readwise Reader. May was Reminders. June was Calm. July was Halide. August was Freeform. September was Athletic. October was Notion. And November was Snipped, which brings us to December to crown the App of the Year for multiple different categories. We will start with the biggest category for me personally, and maybe the one that I enjoy the most, which is productivity. This includes calendars, notes apps, and to-do list applications. Starting with the most improved, this I think hands down goes to Craft Docs. During 2025, they added tasks, databases called collections, which are just like Notion, a Readwise integration, Liquid Glass update, upgraded their AI assistant, added Windows support, email to Craft, MCP and API support, and a bunch of smaller updates to keep the app running smoothly throughout the year. They also happen to listen to the community and really feel like they're building momentum to have an app that can take on Notion while maintaining the things that people love about Craft, which mostly is the beautiful UI and documents that you can create inside of the app. And my honorable mention here is Apple Reminders. As much as I want to try to get away from a 3-app system, Notes, Reminders, and Calendar, I just love using Apple Reminders, and its integration with Apple Calendar and Notes are unparalleled in any other task app. It's just more difficult to plan tasks elsewhere. And onto the main event, I'm going in a direction most people probably would not expect, and I'm actually selecting Notion as my winner for Productivity App of the Year. As frustrated as I've been by Notion in the past, I do think it's the best all-around app if you're looking to go for one place for all of your notes, work, tasks, and now even AI. Notion had a huge year launching offline support, and Notion AI has really come a long way. The thing I've long complained about being the biggest bottleneck to using Notion has been setup, and $20 a month literally obliterates that. Notion AI and agents can now set up spaces so easily and has access to query all of your different notes and spaces for more complex connections between notes. My example of writing a YouTube video that has tasks that I want to see on the calendar, which then get turned into a newsletter, and portions of which I may talk about on the podcast, all of this is easy to link together and visualize right within Notion. It still isn't my main app, but it comes closest to being exactly what I'm looking for in a do-it-all productivity application, more so than Craft or Apple Notes at the time being. That doesn't mean that I've stopped using those two tools or that I dislike them. Both are still in my dock and I use them for various purposes. Now on to utilities. I only covered a few this year, but my runner-up here is Raycast. It's one of those apps that I just have to install anytime that I get a new Mac, but lately Spotlight Search has gotten some updates, and a lot of what I used to use Raycast for could be reasonably replaced by Spotlight. I fully haven't made the switch over yet, but I have considered doing an updated thoughts video for that next year, and that leaves me with the winner of this category, 1Password. I tried to swap over to Apple Passwords once it was fully updated, but it's just more difficult to use on a day-to-day basis than 1Password. Plus, the addition of secured notes and credit cards inside of 1Password makes things a lot easier to navigate around for me while using the internet. Pricing for 1Password is really competitive, and I couldn't imagine canceling this subscription just to save $30 per year. On to entertainment. My honorable mention here is Readwise Reader because sometimes I kind of forget that it exists, and I have a bunch of newsletters going to Readwise Reader that rarely get read. So I have enough junk email to sort through in my inbox, but there have been times where Reader has been helpful. It lets you sync highlights from the Readwise Reader app directly to Readwise. So I have some things that go into the library that I want to read if I know I'm going to probably take some highlights on them. And that leaves the winner for entertainment as Snipped. Snipped is now my podcast player of choice, although admittedly on the iPad here it doesn't have an iPad app just yet. But The purpose of Snipped lets you take snippets of a podcast and sync it automatically with Readwise. So in the Snips section down here at the bottom of the app, I can see recent episodes that I've listened to and click into them to see what things I wanted to save inside of the podcast. And then those things are automatically synced with Readwise, which then automatically syncs with Notion, Craft, or even Apple Notes now. So I can take advantage of those highlights and use them to add some context to some of my newsletter articles. On to health. My honorable mention here is Calm. I still use the Calm app from time to time for guided meditations, and it's the best option that I've found, but they're starting to add more and more to the app, and some more subscriptions are popping up inside of the app, which I'm not really a fan of, but it's still my top recommendation at the moment for that type of thing. And then the winner of this category is Athletic, which is something that I look at without fail every single morning. For sleep tracking and recovery, there are now a few options within the App Store that do similar things, but the price of Athletic is great, and they've added some great features this year, including body, battery, and a liquid glass update. And the final category here is cameras. My honorable mention is Not Boring Camera because of the awesome design and customization. And of course, that then leaves the winner as Halide because it still has a buy once plan, but the subscription is cheap enough to try out for the year. Plus, the developers of Halide have other great apps for mobile photo and video as well. Inside of Halide, you get all of the professional controls that you would want inside of your camera application. You can control your shutter speed, your ISO, aperture, and choose from different shooting modes, including a totally unprocessed RAW file that just pulls all of the information straight from the sensor. This has been a great year across the board for app updates, things that make us more productive, more mindful, and healthier. This list just scratches the surface of things that I have reviewed and used throughout the year. Be sure to get subscribed for more App of the Month videos, restarting again in January. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Later.